Good day and welcome to another episode of the Council Podcast. Today we'll be starting on a TV note, which is different from usual. And we're going to be discussing the sitcom genre, past, present and future. Our second topic this week will be a council go-to of making a list because we're all lazy and it's easier just to pick a film and say it's a topic. This will be regarding films that we think directors should be given another chance at because of studio interference. Make of that as you will. And as always, we will be finishing off with a nice little happy ending, and also known as a game. So joining me today, we have our usual Natalia.
Hello. Hopefully the game isn't rigged and Liam can win this time.
Well, I can't because I'm hosting it. But unlike others, I'll be fair. Speaking of unfair, Sohail. Hello.
Hello. I won't make any disparaging comment against you, Liam, but okay.
No, you won't because you tricked me out of a win. Our next person that tricked me out of a win, Yousef.
Hey, I agree with you. Watching the footage back, but hey.
Yeah. It's fine. One day I'll turn up to Canada and stab you. No, I won't. No, I'm nice. I'm a nice person. I don't stab people. Next, we have Constance. Speaking of nice people.
Hi. That's hilarious.
Next, we have Jack.
Hello.
Welcome. And then we have Yousef.
Hey, I beat you fair and square in that one game. FYI.
No, you fucking didn't.
Yes, I did.
No.
No, sorry. In my defense, in my Zoom, I heard his thing after the music, but in the recording, it was way before the music ended. So
She didn't specify.
Yeah.
He did. And then saving the evilest for last, we have Ben.
Hi. I will say this, Liam. You so could have won my game if you weren't so fucking stupid. You just completely messed it up, and that's on you.
I mean, I didn't blame you. But
Such love here at the council.
I thought I was being lovely.
Yes.
I was introducing everyone nicely. So then we have one more person to introduce. And we are also joined this week by a very special guest that I know a lot of listeners will want to hear from because a lot of listeners know her. And that is Pastor Madeline.
You guys are crazy. Hey, I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome.
Finally.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. I know it's something that we have wanted for a while.
Oh, that's
obviously
too sweet.
Come join us for the blue ribbons.
I didn't want to be like, ditto. You guys are awesome. I love following all of your content. It's so great.
Did brilliant. So, obviously, quite a lot of us and most of our listeners will know who you are. But for anyone that doesn't know who you are, please do introduce yourself.
So, I'm Madeline. I'm in Ohio. I teach at a seminary, but I am also a Grace Randolph Stan, a BTT member, which is how I got to know all of this lovely community. And I don't necessarily watch every movie and TV show, but I am a super movie enthusiast. I watch every single review, anything that's out there that you guys put out or that Grace puts out, I watch it and it keeps me away from some stuff and I watch other things. But anything from Star Wars, Marvel to Jane Austen and Frasier, like that's my jam. That's what I do. And so I'm just super happy to be here. You guys are awesome.
Thank you for joining us. So now that we all know about Madeline, let's jump into our first topic of sitcoms. And since this was all Madeline's idea, I will be handing off the first topic to Madeline.
Well, okay, so
I said that
WandaVision.
very French.
Thank you. Well,
Sorry.
no, Madeline, I'll take it. Whichever pronunciation you want to do, I'm good. So WandaVision was a big deal. We all followed it. We all watched it. And it really strongly made the choice to bring the sitcom into its formation, right? And so, and even some older sitcoms. So like behind me, you see here, I have I Love Lucy, which they did not do. They did Bewitched, but they also did like the Dick Van Dyke Show. So I have had these for like 15 to 20 years. So the question I have a few questions for us for sitcoms, but one of the questions I have is with the changing landscape of how people are watching content, do you feel like modern sitcoms have a chance of succeeding? And I'll caveat that by saying former sitcoms used to be in network television and they were appointment viewing. So like the whole nation or sometimes world, depending on how things were broadcast, would watch a certain show at a certain time. But now you've got streaming services that are picking up TV shows that are sitcom-like. And then you have shows like Schitt's Creek, which I am like well into season 1, and I'm now a Schitt's Creek stan. I think it's hilarious, but it only found its second life from CBC, which is a Canada broadcasting channel, after it hit Netflix. So actually the streaming service helped it to have longevity and have more seasons. So the question is, are streaming services gonna kill sitcoms, or are they gonna maybe help somehow? How do you see that happening? I'd love to hear your comments. Want to raise a hand or just jump in? Go for it.
Yeah, it's us. We just jump in. We're not polite. I would say I do feel like the streaming service is helping sitcoms more than hindering them. I think Schitt's Creek, as you put across there, is the perfect example. So, and then I think there's other sitcoms that I can't really think of them off the top of my head that are getting second wind on streaming services, and especially you've
Sorry,
got
can I stop you?
Oh, go.
My internet cut out, so everything after your intros, Liam, is like has to be redone. Sorry.
So Madeline, so start with Schitt's Creek.
Speech.
Does he start with Schitt's Creek, or was my thing captured, or should I start over?
Just to be safe, do you want to explain your part again, and then we can just take it from there? Because I don't want to like look at it afterwards and be like, oh no. So
you got half of an intro. Yeah. No. Okay, so WandaVision revisited these classic sitcoms. Some of them are super personal to even my growing up that they referenced, right? So Dick Van Dyke Show is super important for me. It's my absolute favorite sitcom, and I own all of the DVD set for like 20 years. I've owned them. So for you guys, I would really love to know if you think that the modern sitcom even has a chance of surviving. We have currently a different landscape than previous sitcoms. Even Friends had network television to rely on for appointment viewing, right? And we don't have that now. We have streaming services. However, shows like Schitt's Creek actually found an audience because of Netflix. They were on CBC in Canada. And once they went to Netflix, they found this whole other audience, and now people are watching them. And they've made subsequent seasons that maybe they would have been canceled in Canada if they hadn't, they weren't well received at first, and then they found their audience later. So the question is, are modern sitcoms, do they have a chance, and how do streaming services affect them? So Liam, what do you think?
I do believe that the modern sitcom is going to heavily be saved by streaming services. Like you can say, still here.
I'm like part through season 1, and I'm a stan now. I get it. I really Grace talked about Schitt's Creek, and I was like, I don't know. But I watched it, and I really enjoyed it.
I was one of the people in her comments screaming, just watch Schitt's Creek. Like, everyone, just watch Schitt's Creek.
I will
And-
say Canada's view of Southern America is not super accurate, but anyway.
Well, but that's obviously the point of it, isn't it? It's a modern sitcom with old-fashioned sensibilities of Southern America, but taking out anything that's like hate or anything. Love is just love, and that's how it's going to be viewed throughout the whole thing.
No, I mean, like, not
there's
everyone
no-
has a mullet still. Although
Oh, okay.
it's become fashionable again in New Rochelle in
has.
Florida. Yes, I love it. But
As
ironically
Natalia shows off her
fashionable, not
mullet.
actually fashionable. Yeah.
But yeah, so I do think things like Netflix are going to have a helping hand in the sitcom and keeping the sitcom going. Like, even if you look now, there's quite regularly you'll find things like Friends. I think
That's a question for later. We'll come back to that.
Oh, sorry.
Like the
Sorry.
stuff that we haven't, like, that you maybe didn't see originally, that's a question for later.
Yeah. So, like, I'm trying to think of, because British sitcoms are quite different from American sitcoms. So we still do have sitcoms, but they're more like 9 p.m. They're not really appointment viewing, they're more like adult viewing. But they're still there and they're still popular in Britain. Same as the soap opera. It's like one and the same. They're very popular, and it's usually they'll play one after the other. But I think it's more of a British thing.
So you think Schitt's Creek is a great example of the longevity of the sitcom? Does anyone have a
most
differing
definitely
opinion that sitcoms are in trouble because streaming is kind of disrupting appointment television?
I think I just have a little bit of a concern because I don't trust streaming services to just outright make a sitcom, because I don't trust them to make a lot of these seasons, because they can barely do it with their own content. Cough, cough, Netflix. I do think that they're a little bit better in what they did with Schitt's Creek and putting on sitcoms that have already come out and everything onto their platforms, and then subsequently creating that kind of longevity. I don't trust them to make their own. Then again, I also don't watch any modern sitcoms, so I don't know anything outside of Schitt's Creek.
See, now that's a
That could be
great
like a good thing.
point, is that besides Schitt's Creek, what modern sitcoms do we have? I mean, even Modern
I don't
Family
think
is
of
done,
any.
right?
Yeah, Modern Family ended date.
Modern
And then
Family's
Schitt's
done,
Creek
yeah.
is done. Parks
Yeah.
and Rec is done. Bang Theory is done.
What will happen to sitcoms now is the question, because I don't
Like, how does a sitcom launch in this environment?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
to be fair, thinking of it, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine's also ending as well.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that
Kim's
on
Convenience
Peacock?
just was canceled. I
Which
think
one
so,
was
yeah.
canceled?
Kim's Convenience here in Canada. It was also on
that's
Netflix.
Right. Oh, I love
Yeah.
Convenience.
The best
I've never-
sitcom of all time is still running. And it's the
Which
longest
is?
running show of all time. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Is it
That's-
still running on Fox?
Really?
It's
I thought you were going to
greenlit.
reference The Simpsons or something.
No,
Ah.
it's greenlit for 3 more seasons.
Wow.
With Danny DeVito.
With Danny DeVito. I love that guy.
DeVito.
So I don't have network television anymore. I haven't had cable in like a long time. So we do streaming services and then hope that we can somehow stream the Olympics, that sort of thing. So how do we watch these? Oh, okay. I have a different question because I think we've exhausted this one. Okay, this is a question. Have you encountered a show, not when it originally aired, but because of streaming, and now you've watched over 75% of that show?
Yes.
I would.
And
Yes,
tell me
I'm
what that
doing it
show
right-
is and how much you enjoyed it.
I'm doing it right now with my mother. We are watching Call the Midwife. It is a show that I originally started watching in like high school in my freshman or sophomore year, and then I just stopped watching it. I got to series 4 and then I stopped. I don't know why I stopped, but now in my senior year of college, I'm watching it again, and we are already on season. We just started season 8.
Is it
and
a
I love it
sitcom?
so much. It can
Or more
be.
of like a drama show?
It's drama. It's very episodic, but it has a great.
Okay.
It's just I love it so
I would
much.
say
But
more drama.
I'm glad.
More
I'm
drama
glad
than
you
sitcom.
mentioned that one because I've been wondering about that one.
it's
So,
so
but
much good.
sitcoms that like you've discovered post
Fresh
original
off the
air
boat.
date.
Ooh,
Which
Yeah.
one?
the boat.
I love
yeah.
Fresh Off the
What
Boat.
does it air on?
Yeah.
Tell us what it airs on too, so for viewers they know where to go.
ABC.
I don't know because it doesn't air in the UK, so I have to watch it in a naughty way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ABC has great great shows. Like I discovered the Goldbergs a couple of months ago, which is also on ABC. And that's
oh my god, I've just started that today.
It's so good, isn't it? I love it so much.
I'm really enjoying it. They've just added all of the episodes to something called All 4 in the UK. So I was looking through this morning because I was like, oh, I've got now to watch. And I was like, I'm paying $3.99 for this so that I don't have to watch adverts when I watch The Circle and The Great Pottery Throwdown. So I was like, let's see what else they've got. And I found that and I started this morning and I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
I mean, that's what's so good about streaming services though, right? It's like Madeline said, she doesn't have cable. I don't think a lot of people have it. And so people want it's hard to start like a 1 hour show or a 2 hour movie, but you can just sit there and watch, a whole season of a 30-minute sitcom. And I've certainly done, like, I know Cobra Kai isn't a sitcom, but that had 30-minute episodes. So I binged that. I binged the Goldbergs, Kim's Convenience, Schitt's Creek. And I think that's how streaming has kind of helped this. Because I can tell, I've spoken to the producer of Schitt's Creek. He works at my school. That show was going to get canceled after season 1. They lost so much money off of it.
No, you're so right. Netflix saved it.
Exactly. Well, it was kind of Netflix a little bit because Netflix also just like rejected it right off the bat multiple times. But they kept, Dan and Eugene kept like pushing it at CBC and they said, fine, they funded a lot of it themselves. And then when it got on Netflix, it just blew up like crazy. And that's how they were able to get more and more seasons.
What season did they finish on? So, because I'm on season 1. Okay, season
6,
5.
Yeah.
Season 6?
Season 6. Yes.
Yeah.
So, Ben, you have one more season.
No, I was just wrong.
You're like, I watched them all. I just didn't know how many. No, see, okay. So how about Sohail? I mean, you're in Scotland, but it's the same kind of situation. A lot of you guys are not in the US, so you have different ways of streaming things. But is there a show that you picked up after it originally aired? You never saw it when it originally aired, or maybe not even that much of it, and then you really loved it?
I would say The Office. I didn't watch that when it came out, probably because I was just starting high school or whatever. But I did watch Modern Family. But
did you watch The Office in the UK, and then you're talking about The Office in the US?
Oh, the US. The UK one I don't really care about, but the
Look at your face.
He's a good comedian,
He's
but
amazing.
he is. But
right.
The US one was just.
Why is Sohail still around?
No, I want to hear his point. Liam, mute. Okay, good. Sohail.
Liam has to defend England, so I have no qualms with that. But yeah, The Office, I forgot how long it was because it feels like sometimes it's 25 minutes, but then it feels like an hour, depending on if it's like a double episode or whatever. But yeah, that's one show. I usually watch shows when I was young. I used to watch it on TV, like I'd say Supernatural, the OC, I think it was, Orange County, Grey's Anatomy, Charmed. I mean, I used to watch them.
Yeah, those were more of the longer hour things, not the
sitcom.
Yeah.
So
not a sitcom influence.
Yeah, well, the only sitcom I still do watch is Friends, and it used to be on Netflix. And I think for the younger people in here, you know, the babies, it's obviously not on TV. Yeah, and it's now it's on streaming, which I think it's on HBO Max in the US. The younger ones don't really have cable that much at home, and they're usually just streaming. So when you see it in HBO Max, I mean, it just shoots up to the charts, really. So I think streaming does save
shoots up to the charts, right?
Yeah, shoots
that
up.
Was the Scottish thing. Okay.
And I think streaming would save older sitcoms, but modern ones, I think we're past that point where we're just on to new genres and ways of mediums.
I think Sohail's onto something. So I think that the former sitcoms, like for instance, I wasn't super into Frasier, which is, I mentioned that in my intro, so I'll come back to that to kind of explain. I wasn't super into Frasier with Kelsey Grammer when it first aired. And some of you, because you're young and you're watching these guys, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's on Paramount Plus. And it's available there. And I had CBS and for Discovery for my husband for Star Trek that I started watching Frasier. And so I started rewatching and I was like, Niles is freaking hilarious. If you watch it, it's these hoity-toity guys, but the burns that they give each other, it's super funny. Now, I watched Friends when it originally aired. You know, I was a young child when like Cheers was airing and stuff like that, you know. So I didn't follow Cheers. I watched a few of those. And then Frasier followed that, but it wasn't like my thing as a young person. But later in life, it's something that you enjoy. So I think it gives second life to a lot of these sitcoms that we have streaming. And there's probably a lot more audience now. I know a lot of these actors in sitcoms have said, especially Friends, they have said when a young person comes up, they know if they say Friends, it's because they've watched it on streaming. It's not because they watched it originally. And so, Hale, I mean, you're young. And so you didn't watch it originally. When I was watching, it was really controversial. The Friends, in a way, was controversial for the time. And now it's like, what was controversial about it? Besides it being like kind of blasé or making fat jokes that it shouldn't make. I mean, that sort of thing.
And very white.
No
I mean,
diversity
I'll say one more thing about
in New York.
Friends. I mean, they're actually my mother's age, so my mother didn't watch sitcoms, so it's just a whole different generation. But in a way, there are some themes that are relatable to younger people, but that's really just like a personal perspective thing.
No, okay. So Constance and Jack and Yousef, we haven't heard from you guys, so I'd love to hear, like, was there a certain sitcom, maybe you want to answer one of the previous questions, or you could answer like, is there a sitcom that really stuck out for you and was like part of your childhood or growing up? Or is there something that you've watched recently that you didn't watch originally? Constance, you're thinking really hard, but I'm going to make you go now instead.
That's fine. I was trying to decide which one to answer.
I was like, oh, I should probably call someone else.
I'm an 80s child as well. So I watched things in the 80s and 90s. And in the 90s, especially like early 90s, Nick at Night was huge. So that's how you got your I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke, Bewitched.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I love all
like, this is what a marriage should look like in the Dick Van Dyke Show. I didn't see it in my household, but I saw it here. I was like,
oh. Now, things that were current at the time, like I watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as it aired. I watched Saved by the Bell as it aired. I watched Friends as it aired. You know, Friends was really the last sitcom. When you ask, oh, have you discovered something on streaming? Yes, but not sitcoms. I'm more of a drama. Like when I was in college, I worked 18-hour shifts because I was in theater. So, you know, it's like work the show. So there's this big black hole in the early 2000s because I was working so much. So I missed really big shows like Mad Men and Breaking Bad. So now that those are on streaming, I've watched all of that finally. Like, oh, I remember everyone talking about Breaking Bad and I missed it. So I've watched that, but it's not a sitcom.
That's a great point.
Yeah, so it's like, yes, I've caught things, but they're not sitcoms. So.
Well, and that, to your point, like at the time, Seinfeld was really huge, but it was sort of like the anti-Friends. Like they were very different from each other. I was more into Friends than Seinfeld, but now I'm like, when the hell can I get Seinfeld on streaming, you know, and I'm just waiting for it to come on one of the platforms that I actually subscribe to because I want to watch all of them through. They're so perfect. Jack, how about you?
I don't have much sitcom experience. The most I have is really
Jack is a
when I
baby
was-
as well.
Yeah, kind of. When I was younger, my family used to watch Modern Family and Good Luck Charlie together. And I think those are both sitcom-y.
When you were younger,
Yeah.
you watched Modern Family.
Even
Yes.
I feel
Let
old.
me
Only in the same sentence. Oh, you're so cute.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I
But with
can't breathe.
older sitcoms, both of my sisters, I think, fit what you guys are talking about. They both, through streaming services, binge watched shows like Friends and The Office and stuff. So,
But
They-
you have not, as a young person, felt motivated to watch those shows.
no, I'm not a big TV person in general. And even when I watch TV, I go for more long form dramatic stuff rather than sitcoms personally.
So the younger current sitcom like maybe doesn't really have an audience. That's really interesting. Okay, Joseph, you haven't been able to share yet.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I'm still one of those people that still have my cable and streaming services, and I'm here to tell you that the sitcom still exists. Like I still watch the CBS. I remember one of my favorite memories of all time. Monday night, Two and a Half Men at 8 o'clock. I used to love watching that show. Even though that was too adult for me. I was like in my teen years, I think. But yeah, the sitcom age is still there. Like I'm watching, and right now they air commercials of the next sitcoms coming up. However, I don't think they're gonna be as well. Nobody's gonna see them because hardly anyone has cable TV. But I think because CBS is now part of Paramount Plus, if you could put those new shows simultaneously, similar to what Warner Brothers is doing with their movies, and to a degree Disney Plus is doing with their Disney movies, you could put them simultaneously on their streaming platforms. Like the new NBC shows, you could put them on Peacock. The new CBS shows, you could put on Paramount Plus. The new ABC shows, you could put on Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'll give
So what I
people more
would think
in a-
about that is that it's going to really rely on word of mouth,
Yes.
right? Like word of mouth is going to need to spread like wildfire. This is a show to watch because otherwise, how are shows going to even last or survive? Natalia, what did you want to say?
It'll give people more an incentive to subscribe to Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, to say like, hey, you need to watch the show. I think really the only way for like a new sitcom to launch, I can't even really picture it unless a large group got behind it and like made a big old fuss on Twitter and said, you have to watch this show.
Still happens in England. So that's so like for us looking over, I'm just like sitcoms aren't dead. But then
What's
I think the
sitcoms
sitcom
though?
in America,
Like,
well,
name one.
we've just had This Country, so like that's a mockumentary sitcom. That's been huge on the BBC.
What channel is that on?
It's on BBC. Like that's huge. Like that's what. Like,
And the
that's
UK is really loyal to its own programming, super
Yes.
invested in its own programming for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
like,
my last question is about international programming. So when my husband and I first met, when we were courting, we actually met on Match.com. And he was in Liverpool and I was in North Carolina. And he thought Durham was Durham, England, until he realized it was Durham, North Carolina, USA. And so
that's right next to my house.
God.
I'm like halfway between Newcastle and Durham.
And you know what he thought to himself? That is way too far for a long distance relationship. And then I was in the USA. And his father saw my profile and he was like, you need to meet her. And so anyway, so we had a lot of our first kind of like dates and webcams and stuff with showing each other's sitcoms and each other's funny things and things that we thought were hilarious, or and he wanted to show me his culture and I was showing him Dick Van Dyke episodes and stuff like that. So I would love to hear, we have an international group here. We have Canadians, we have Irish, Scottish, and English, and then Americans. I would love to hear from some of our international people. What are some of the sitcoms that if you didn't even have to worry that someone could find it on streaming, maybe they find it on YouTube and they find clips on YouTube. What are some of those funny sitcoms that you would recommend to your podcast viewers?
No,
So
I wouldn't say it's not entirely Scottish, because the UK would, when it comes to broadcasting, would be grouped together per se. So I think Liam would have more knowledge about other sitcoms. But one which my mum and my dad, which is from another country, but he like understands the show and it's more practically funny, is Faulty Towers. And I don't know if that's a sitcom per se, but it has that feel.
Yeah, it is.
Of like, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of Faulty Towers. See, I haven't seen a lot of that one. That wasn't one of the ones I was going to list, but I wanted you guys to go first, so I didn't take your thunder. Very British. Okay.
Very British.
It's very
not
funny.
Amber Heard British, better British. Okay. Thank you, Sohail. Liam, you've got your thing on mic.
So I would definitely recommend This Country. It is a sitcom, but it's a mockumentary style sitcom. That's just finished in the UK. Not because it was getting bad ratings, like it's just finished its highest ever season of ratings. They wanted to end it when that's what they had planned, so that's what they've done. So I would definitely say that. Obviously, the IT Crowd, that was a very big one. I know you tried to steal that in America as well, and you ruined it.
They remake all of our shows.
They
all
do.
I totally
and they ruin them.
We all know that originality is a thing of the past, okay?
No, I want to watch the
not in
original
England.
IT Crowd. That is on my list.
Capitalism breeds innovation.
Hollywood has been remaking everything.
Yep, this is another one that you've remade, The In-Betweeners.
Was it named the same thing? Or was it renamed?
So bad. That was horrible.
I think
I
it was named the same. It was MTV that remade it, and it was god awful. It was
all you had to say, honey, was MTV.
Yeah.
There's an older one that I used to love when I was growing up. So it's very anyone from the UK listening will understand why everyone knew everyone in my family knew I was gay. This was one of the reasons, because I was obsessed with a show called Birds of a Feather. Which was
like Birdcage.
It was about 3 middle-aged women from Essex.
Not Golden Girls.
Not the Golden Girls, no. Two best friends whose husbands went to jail at the same time because they did a robbing. And then it was them 2 best friends, and they're like the little older tarty friend called Dorian. I loved it. I still love it to this day.
Funny.
Obviously, we originated The Office.
Now he saw the question beforehand, because you can see him looking at his notes. So Liam,
I've just got a list on Google. I've just got a list on Google that I'm going through.
That I just think with these Googled lists.
That I think people should listen to.
Shorter list because he's only like 16 years old.
If he doesn't mention the biggest sitcom to come out of Ireland in years, I'm going to kill him.
Okay, Ben, you've got to step up.
I don't like Dairy Girls, Liam. I'm sorry.
Is that it? Is that right?
I'm going to kill you.
Kill me.
Wait,
who doesn't like Dairy Girls?
You are disowned.
Was
Derry
that
Girls
it,
is
Liam?
amazing. That is it, yes.
I love Derry.
Derry Girls is the best show ever created.
Does it
It
involve
is
cows?
hilarious.
Does it involve cows?
No?
There's probably
No.
some.
No,
They're from
Derry.
the place called Derry. Yes, not
Not
actually.
dairy,
Oh,
not dairy
no,
as
not
in
dairy,
drink.
not dairy.
Cows, yes.
No, it's
Derry.
it's another Derry.
D-E-R. Yes.
D-E-R-R.
Yes. Okay,
D-
Ben, do you have a list?
D-E-R-R-Y.
I do. They're mostly from England because there's not like, again, Dairy Girls. That's an interesting show. I just didn't really enjoy season 2 that much. Like season 1's pretty funny and great, but I watched actually. See, what I did recently was over like the pandemic and stuff. Like times would be tiring. So when I went back like to my mom's house because like it was back to proper school, so I didn't have to like be my grandmother's because online schooling with 3 sisters is very difficult. So I went back home, and every night I either had like something on, so I would come home and like I'd be really tired because I was either cycling or doing like crazy shit. And so me and my mother would watch like a sitcom. So we did all of Schitt's Creek. That's why I didn't know there were 6 seasons, because it quite literally watched that in like a week. Like it just went by like that. It was sad. Then we did. We got a little bit into Friends before this new lockdown. I never enjoyed Friends before. Ugh. Then we did Derry Girls. I like Friends now, by the way. Then we did Derry Girls.
Sohail's not convinced.
I'm happy now.
Oh, okay. We're all friends now.
We're
Okay, good.
all friends
Okay,
now.
Ben.
Ha ha.
We did a little bit of Derry Girls because she'd never seen it. I had seen it. I really liked season 1, and she could relate to it because she grew up at the time that show was set, and she really related. Liam, you know the character, like the kind of like the one with the earrings and like
Wait,
the hair.
like the
Michelle.
90s?
Michelle.
Yes.
She grew up in
Your
the
mom
90s?
was a Michelle.
What
Yeah.
the hell are you talking about? She grew up in the time it was set. The 90s?
Well, like
Yeah.
see,
Or the 2000s? Is it even later?
the
No, it's
times
the
would have been like
90s.
very similar.
was Take
Ireland was in
That.
like the exact same place. Like Derry Girls was like Ireland through like the 90s and the 2000s. So
Okay.
yeah, she
But
was
that's
very
not
similar.
historic. Let me just tell you. It sounded like you were making it sound historic. That is not historic.
No, not at all. But Liam, what's her name again? The girl? I forget.
Michelle.
Michelle. Yeah, my mother is so similar to Michelle. It's not.
Oh,
even
me and
funny.
your mother would get on so well because I'm
I
definitely
think you
a
would.
Michelle.
Every time we'd watch it, I'd be like, "Yeah, you do stuff like that." But anyways, the only other Irish sitcom I can think of is Bridget and Eamon and Mrs. Brown's Boys, and they're not. They get really tedious after a long time, so I'm not going to recommend them. So all
Let's
of
not.
mine are.
Let's not discuss Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Let's not.
I agree.
So all of my sitcoms are stuff that I would do with my mom. I watch TV with my mom. My dad works nights. He didn't anymore. Now he doesn't. So whenever we watch stuff, he's always there, and so I don't like it. But so this is stuff I'd always watch with my mother. So we did this as well. This was one of our Schitt's Creek and our Derry Girls and our Friends shows. We had extras. The first season of Extras, every episode had like a laugh out loud funny moment. Jesus Christ, that man is a
that
genius.
a UK extras? Because I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, the Ricky Gervais one.
Oh my gosh, I have to YouTube that.
It's
I like
amazing.
Ricky Gervais.
The first season is just laugh out loud funny. The second
Like
one is
Idiot
his
Abroad.
follow-up
I
to-
love Ricky Gervais stuff.
That was his follow-up to The Office.
Okay.
it was
Okay,
brilliant.
Yousef, Canada. Thank you, Ben. Fantastic. Yousef, Canada. Is there anything else Canadian we should know about?
I mean, there's Schitt's Creek, but everyone's seen that. The only other show I'd recommend is Kim's Convenience. It's so good. It's so
Hell
Canadian. I
yeah!
love it. I believe it's on Netflix everywhere. It kind of did like, it's also CBC. So like whatever Schitt's Creek did, it like followed. I mean, watch it. Simu Liu stars in that show. He's also going to be Shang-Chi for Marvel. Paul Sun Hyung Lee, it was in The Mandalorian. He's on that show. It's just so funny. Like it's legitimately the funniest show I think I've ever seen. And it's great because you get some, what are you showing us here?
It's too bright.
Yeah.
I'm trying to unmute. Yes, I was just confirming for people in the UK, it is on Netflix.
Oh, there you go.
But I
Okay,
can't.
awesome.
Or you can
Yeah.
have a
No,
gin.
it's It's so so good. And also you get a little, I mean, I don't want to like be that guy, but it also brings, you know, diversity in. It's a show starring all Korean, or not Korean, but like all Asian people playing a Korean family. It does a really good job with social issues. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like newer sitcoms a little bit more than older sitcoms, because I can relate to them more. And I don't think, to bring it back to the last question, I don't think sitcoms are dying, because like Constance said, I also work really, really long hours. And so to get through them a little bit quicker, like everyone on set's watching new sitcoms on Netflix. So I think there's a bit of an audience there. But yeah, that's one you should definitely check out.
I totally agree. I think sitcoms have a place in sort of our psyche of the sort of like disconnect and the fun. And I don't have to think too hard. It doesn't need to be so serious, and I can just like comment and have fun on the life that I'm seeing. But you know, it's taken a piss out of scenarios, or even like Friends, young people in New York, like they'd ever have this freaking apartment, you know, what it's like to date. So Sohail, you're not Mike, so you want to share something?
I just forgot one TV show, it's a Scottish one, Still Game, 9 seasons. It should be on streaming. It's a perfect show for like an older generation of Scots. I mean, you'd love it. It's really hilarious, and it's a sitcom as well. So there you go.
How do you spell that one? Because I would totally find it.
Still Game.
Still Game. See, like the accent. I'm like stolen. Stale.
Still.
Still. The word yes. Still. Okay.
Yeah. Game, as in like a video game.
Still game. Thank you.
Yeah.
I also have one more.
Oh, you have one more. Ben, go for it.
I forgot about this. This is by far and away the best sitcom to come out of the UK, Ireland, this whole region, this area. And it stars Yousef's favorite boy. Is the only time I've ever liked James Corden. Ever. Gavin and Stacey. 100%.
Really? You have that to recommend?
Well
okay. Because I thought the UK hated James Corden.
No, they do.
Oh, but we hate him.
Yeah.
But he gets a pass for Gavin and
reason,
Stacey.
because I've heard why. Yeah. Adele has something to do with it. Anyway.
Yes. No, he gets a pass for Gavin and Stacey. And that is all we give him a pass for.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, so when my husband and I'll just mention a few things, and then I'm going to pass it over to Liam, and he's going to take it from there for our next segment. When my husband and I were going back and forth, he showed me, of course, Mr. Bean, which I had seen like briefly, but then he showed me more of Mr. Bean's stuff. And, you know, like some of those are like, you can watch them every now and then. It's not like you can just sit and watch them all the way through. They get very repetitive. But then Only Fools and Horses was one that he showed me some of the most famous skits. If you've not seen some of those are really funny. There's like a chandelier skit. There's a Batman and Robin Only Fools and Horses skit that's really funny. If you want to, Ben, if you want to connect with your great grandparents, since you're so young, you could watch some of those Only Fools and Horses on YouTube and be like, hey, I just saw this. And they'd be like, what? The mind blown emoji. Yes. And then the other ones that we watched like we watched a few of the Keeping Up the Appearances. There's this lady whose name is Bucket, but she calls herself
Hyacinth Bouquet.
Bouquet
residence.
Yes.
Hyacinth speaking.
Hyacinth Bouquet. And her name is Bucket, and it's spelled Bucket. And we watched Little Britain and the Two Ronnies, but those last two are more like sketch shows than they are sitcoms. So they don't quite qualify. But anyway, so fully indoctrinated American here. So
did he show you Ab Fab?
No, but he left like 15 years ago. So
that's not an excuse. Absolutely Fabulous was the 90s.
Oh no, Absolutely Fabulous. I'm sorry. I just didn't know.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I
abbreviated
short lingo for it. Yes, I have heard of them.
Yeah.
Wait. The one that I had watched before I had ever married a British person was The Vicar of Dibley. And I was contemplating going into ministry, and I was watching this woman vicar go into this vicar town, and she's buxom, and it's played by Dawn French. And the guys are like looking at her boobs, literally. And they're like, you're not our vicar, you're a woman. She goes, these are such a giveaway. And so it had me hooked from there. So I had also the videos of all of those seasons. So the Vicar of Dibley, I would say. Natalia.
She's just done some lockdown specials. If you want to Google.
Dawn French is great in any forum.
Two things, going back to some of your original questions of shows that you've found after they've aired. Actually, let me do this first one of yeah, okay, I'll do this. I don't know if does Fleabag count as a sitcom? It's more of like a dark comedy sort of thing, but I did end up watching. Okay, I did end up watching it on Prime, and we would watch that after we would watch an episode of Killing Eve, so then we like wouldn't feel dead inside.
Dark comedies in the US are sitcoms over here.
I know, but
yeah.
I just wanted to
and
be
here
sure.
they're like, not quite.
Yeah, we don't like to use that terminology. And a sitcom that I did watch, and we did watch it very quickly, was The Good Place, which we watched because it was on Netflix, and we're in a panorama. So yeah.
That show was so sad the way it just got really bad the last 2 seasons. Like it was horrible.
It became terribly existential near the end. In the beginning, it was just a lot of Groundhog Day, but then it got very existential, and I was like, I did not sign up for this. I didn't want to be depressed and reminded of capitalism, and yet here we are.
See, now
I opened up one
to wrap
because
up.
I never got to actually say because everyone skipped over me. Shocker. But here's the thing, yeah. Since I'm like, my age, almost all of the sitcoms are sitcoms that came out like when they aired, like I catched up on all of them. But I have to say my favorite is probably Third Rock from the Sun. I love that show. That's such a great show. That's amazing.
That was out when like it originally aired when I was the age to watch it. I watched some of it, but yeah. No. Third Rock from the Sun. Wait, is that the one with the aliens or is that the one with Tina Fey?
No, that's the Third Rock from the Sun is it's the
one with
the aliens.
Gordon Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the aliens.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, yeah.
I have a question for the Americans.
Go for it, Liam.
So you've just getting a new sitcom with Mayim Bialik. Is it Call Me Cat or
Call Me Cat? Yeah.
Call Me Cat. So has anyone watched that?
See, what network is that on?
Didn't know that this was a
NBC.
thing.
That's a thing.
It's on NBC. It's with Mayim Bialik and that really funny man on like TikTok, I think, or YouTube, or what is he? What is he on?
TikTok or YouTube.
The really old guy. You know who I'm talking about? He was in Billie Holiday.
Not. What is it called?
Biden?
I'm gonna
Sorry, you said old guy. I'm just kidding.
What is it called?
Call Me Cat.
Oh, Leslie Jordan. Yeah.
Call Me Cat sitcom.
So that is
Leslie Jordan's probably younger than me. No.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Leslie
he's 65,
Jordan.
So.
Oh no, he's not
from Will and Grace.
I'm finally younger than somebody.
Oh.
The little gay Leslie.
Well, I hear Leslie and I think of Naked Gun. Like that's how old I am.
Well,
Leslie something or other is the Naked Gun actor.
Nielsen.
Gordon or I don't know. Yeah, Nielsen.
Yeah.
Nielsen. Yeah, and he's passed away since forever ago.
I know, because I'm all, thank you, Yousef, for reminding me that he died.
Yousef has a tendency to do that. But yes, Call Me Cat is based on another British sitcom. So it's another one that you have tried to import.
Wow. See, now this is a reason why I asked the other question about international sitcoms, because if you go ahead and watch the original content, you might see what's going to come out, Yeah. But anyway, you guys have great content for sitcoms.
You'll know who this one's actually based on. It's a sitcom that she wrote. Can you remember Spy with Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah.
Miranda, so another really tall woman who works with her in the agency.
I love her.
Jane Austen, Miranda, and Emma.
Yes, so Miranda is is a sitcom in the UK that she wrote and starred in. And it's got him who plays Lucifer.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
I haven't seen that
Miranda
show, but I
Hart.
know
Oh,
you got
Tom
it.
Ellis.
Tom Ellis, yes. So Tom Ellis is her love interest.
Yousef,
Yes,
I'm impressed.
I'm looking at this right now. Miranda Hart.
Interesting.
She was in
Miranda
Call the
Hart.
Midwife.
Okay, so I also
was,
watched
yes.
the Graham Norton show. Like
I
the
love
TV.
Graham Norton.
Yes, the
Peak
Graham
woman.
Norton show is great. And you can tell that Britain loves their comedians and their sitcom comedians. They like bring them forward to the forefront. They really do.
We
Yeah,
just
he always
shun
makes
ours.
For good
he always
reason.
tries to have- he always tries to have one on an episode, so that and then that person can be like the comedy banter kind of thing for it.
I love it.
Liam,
You
did
guys
you see
are
Game
awesome.
Face?
Did I
Ben?
say what?
Game Face.
Never
No,
heard
it's
of it.
actually a really funny show. That's a newer sitcom. That would be on all four too.
Well, see, that's good to know. Again, we want to like the new stuff. I think we're going to have to do by word of mouth because otherwise I don't see with streaming and no appointment television. I don't know, unless it's like within a country, I don't see how it'll really take off. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for letting me like talk to us about sitcoms like the whole time.
Oh, hey, thanks for watching. And remember, full episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
With new episodes Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, links in the description box.
And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay caught up to date with The Council.
Boys, I'm excited.